Imagine a technique that allows you to rewrite your script of the past. If you could take the things that have happened in your past that you feel have held you back from experiencing the love, the abundance, and the fulfillment in your life because of these things that happened, imagine having a switch that turns those setbacks into the biggest triumphs in your life. Imagine being able to rewrite and reshape your past, which then reshapes the energy in the present moment and what you experience in the future. When I found this concept, it completely transformed my life. It is something that I began to use a little bit at first, but then as I began to see what is the degree to which the past can change, it has completely revolutionized my teachings. It's revolutionized the way that I talk about forgiveness, the way that I talk about what the past actually is. And it also shows that reality is way more fluid than we thought. What we think of as the past is nothing more than that of a memory that continues to change over and over again the more we focus on it. And when we change our perception of it, it changes our energy in the present moment right now. Well, this video is a step-by-step workshop that will show you how to use the art of what is called revision. It is a Neville Goddard technique for revising the way you relate to the past and revising your energy in the present moment right now. It is one of the most powerful concepts I've ever found. It is why I'm releasing it for free on YouTube, where you can watch this workshop, but to really get the full benefit of it, I highly recommend you watch the whole workshop. There are stories I tell, there are teachings within it that are brand new that I've never really shared on YouTube before, and there's a meditation for wiring this whole thing in. So this is the only revision technique meditation that I've really seen on YouTube in this format, and it comes with a workshop. And this is what saved me literally years. If I would have had this years ago, it would have saved me years of trial and error to learn what I've learned. All the going into the past, recreating the emotions to feel it, to heal it. There's another way. That way is through the process of revision. It is through this identity level transformation of understanding quantum field resonance, and you can experience that right now by watching this video all the way through. Watch this workshop and see how much your energy changes as a reflection of what you learn in this video. So with that being said, let's get into the workshop right now. Does the past exist anywhere except for our mind? Does it? You remember the past. Where's the past? Where's the past? It's in the mind. It's in the memory. We recreate, just like you're recreating your future from your current, present way of thinking, feeling, and acting, and your decision about who you are and your self-concept. In the same way that your future changes as you change your present moment energy, your past is also constantly changing. You do this whether you agree with me or not. This is what neuroscience actually shows. It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain is wired based on the connections that you make. And when you look to your past from a certain state of being, you perceive of a different past every time you're in a different emotion. So for example, remember right now a time of your past when you were confident. I want you to imagine a memory where you felt extremely confident. Maybe you won an award. I remember, if I were to remember a time, I remember when I was in forensics debate. And I started doing it's funny, my friend Victor told me his daughter is considering doing forensics debate in high school, in her school, and I got so excited because I was like, I love forensics debate. I did that for years in high school. And you want to know why, by the way, I got into forensics debate to begin with? I always want to show you the energy of this because everything in life depends on the meaning we give it in the present moment. In 9th grade, I go to do that of I was in this group project in an English class in 9th grade. I was a freshman in high school. And what happened is I go to do this group work thing. It was 4 of us. It was like 4 or 5 of us. I can't remember. But basically, I didn't do my homework. And I had 4 other people that did all the work. And basically, what happened is I go up to the front of the class, did not do my homework that much, and we're given a presentation in front of 40 kids. I stand up at the front, I look out at the audience, and I became a deer in headlights. And the deer in headlight energy, I froze. And all I remember is that eventually I sat down extremely embarrassed, and I felt like I let my partners down in this English class. I felt like embarrassed in front of 40 kids, and it was a very intense experience. However, after that happened, I was so embarrassed by it that I decided that sophomore year of high school, I was going to get into something called forensics debate because I was going to break the fear of public speaking. So I got into forensics debate, not knowing I'd actually fall in love with this thing. Forensics debate is you go to tournaments. Basically, you learn how to make arguments. You don't get to necessarily pick your affirmative or negative side. You'd have like a topic. You have to make a case for the affirmative and the negative. Then you go to a tournament once a month at a certain school, and then you have judges that are judging you going against other kids, and then there's like finals. You'll go like 4 or 5 times within a day. There's finals, all of this stuff, and it was something that I ended up falling in love with. And funny enough, you want to know when I got good? When I got good at forensics debate, this was the switch for me. This was the key. First off, because 7 to 15, I didn't have much of that childhood. I put all my energy into it because it was my only outlet. So I became extremely fascinated with this whole thing. But what happened is because of the fear, because of the embarrassing experience, I chose to start with forensics debate and chose to go into it, to go into the fear, to break it, to find out that I actually love it. Funny enough, the things that we're the most afraid of, the things that are our biggest trauma, many times can fuel us in ways we can't even imagine. Many of you have been through crazy stuff in the past that led to a spiritual awakening. So those things in the past that normally were bad ended up becoming not so bad. Now, funny enough, later on, so when it came to speaking, I remember at first I was like figuring out like how to speak and how to speak powerfully and how to have an impact with people. And the first couple debates that I went to, I was not good at all. In fact, I felt like one of them was a partner debate. I felt like I was letting my partner down. She was older than me and also like more experienced than me. But then I started to get a little bit more confident. And then what happened is I started to take ownership of committing to the process of learning how to become a better speaker. I committed to it. And I remember one time I went to this debate and I was going against, it was a partner debate, and I was going against these 2 other people, and they were from a different school. And what they did is they got up in front of like the judge, or the 2 or 3 parent judges, and they were like yelling. So they were like, "Be it resolved that juveniles charged with violent crime should be tried and punished as adults," and blah, 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 blah. That was like one of the topics. But they were like yelling. So then I go up there and I start yelling. I started mirroring that because I was like, oh, I guess this is how it's done. So I started talking extremely loud with my voice like this. And I went through the whole thing. And I bet you the judges were like, why are these kids yelling? But then what happened is I was also a band nerd. So I played band music all through middle school and high school. And in band, you learn something about something called crescendos, where things get louder as you're playing music. And then you might have times when things get kind of soft. And then there are ways of talking in staccato like this, where it has a sharper edge to it. And then some things can have more nasal, where it's a little bit more smooth, buttery smooth. See what I mean? So basically, what happened is after that yelling match, I was like, this is embarrassing. I took more ownership and I said, what if I applied the way that I spoke by playing trombone in band, and I started to apply that towards that of speaking. So I started to speak with more passion. I started to express ideas, and I started to tell more stories, and I started to basically find my own unique flow. Instead of yelling like these other kids, I started talking with passion. And you want to know what ended up happening? I ended up winning. Like, I ended up winning. I won within 2 or 3 events, because there was one a month. I won first place. I got this trophy. I won first place, and that was a symbol to me that you can do something you put your mind to. That was a symbol to me that you can get good at something that you commit to, that the more reps you put in, the more confident you get. And then I got so passionate about it that I was teaching my brother. I was coaching my brother on how to be a better speaker and how to write good cases. And then eventually I went from the two partner debate, and I did my own. It's called Lincoln Douglas debate. It was moral debate. I was more passionate about that because I was my own. I only had to account for myself. But then I taught my brother, and I helped my brother write his cases. And then my brother ended up winning first place in junior varsity or a novice. I forget. He ended up winning first place though. And that was cool for me. But in those moments, if I were to remember the moment that I was on stage, because what they would do is there was this ceremony at the end, and the people that won, you wouldn't know exactly who won first place and all this stuff. But I remember they call up 6 kids that were the top 6. And I go up there, and I'm standing in front of all these other colleagues, all these other kids and parents and stuff like that, and judges and debate teachers. And I'm in this big auditorium, and I'm on stage, and I'm with 6 other, they call my name up. I'm one of the top 6. And then they call in order. They call these, number 6 goes to this person. I'm like, okay, I didn't get number 6. Number 5 goes to this person. I'm like, okay, I didn't get number 5. Number 4 goes to this person. And number 3, and I'm like, whoa, I'm still here. And then at the very end, it was from Del Sol High School, Aaron Dowdy, first place. And there was this feeling of that was, I remember getting the trophy, and I remember feeling like this is what I love. It wasn't just the being recognized by everyone. Everyone's like, oh, everyone's clapping. The first place always got standing ovation. But there was this emotion that came with that of I can put my mind to something and I can do it. So when I share that with you right now, maybe there's a certain memory you have. Maybe it wasn't that you won first place on something, but maybe you did something and you felt accomplished. You put an energy towards something. Now, if you were to imagine, what could that be for you? Let me see some examples. What are some examples of something that you've done where you felt accomplished? You felt confident inside of yourself. You felt like you really broke out of your own comfort zone, or you're like, this feels great. Being in play as a child, produced a TV special, won trophies in competition cheerleading, won first place in hip-hop competition in high school. That's awesome. Being chosen to represent 300 salespeople, or 300 people. Yep. Singing my first cover. Now, I want you to remember. Awesome. There's some amazing stories in here. Dancing for Miss America, got off of pills. That's also a big thing that you should be proud of. So when you're looking at these, feel in your heart right now the remembrance of that confident state. If you were to close your eyes right now and imagine that you're there in that moment. Do this right now. Imagine you're looking through your own eyes. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Feel as if you're there now. You can connect to it. It's within your field. Connect to that emotion. And in this confident space right now, feeling more confidence come inside of your body. Feeling that energy grow. The more you put the awareness on this memory, the more you give yourself permission to feel this confidence, the more confident you feel. Feel the energy inside of your body. Notice the temperature in the room that you're in. Take a deep breath in through your nose right now. Let it all go. And now, in this confident state, if you were to remember, if I were to ask you to remember other times you were confident in the past, what are other times you were confident in the past besides that memory? What are other moments from your past where you were confident, sure of yourself, proud of yourself, that really meant a lot to you? Was it getting my first ballet solo? Got over the fear of flying, moved to LA, finished Army boot camp, being a mom, running a half marathon, that's awesome. Give birth. Started my own online coaching business. Yeah, I remember when I put in, a big moment for me was when I put in my 2 weeks at my 9-to-5 job that I did not like. I remember going up to HR. I remember expressing to her that I'm going to be putting in my 2 weeks. And she was nice about it. But it was like just a feeling of like, I know somewhere I have a photo. I took a photo of I had this big old beard of me on the wall, and it was like my last day there. And it was such a great feeling to put in those 2 weeks and then to know that like I only have 2 more weeks of this place and then I'm going to buy my time back. Yeah, freedom. Now, I want you to be aware of something right now. What we just did, by you remembering a time you were confident and then you remember another time you were confident, the more you remember these times you were confident in the past from a present moment of feeling confident, the more you are as far as neuroplasticity goes, the more you are rewiring your brain for more confidence. Every time you remember the past and you remember times you weren't confident, you're wiring those synaptic connections. Both memories exist, by the way. There are memories of when you were confident, and there are memories when, like me, I have the memory of when I stood in front of the class and felt like frozen. But I have other memories of where I was very confident. And the more you remember those memories, not that you need to live in your past or anything, I'm just saying that part of your identity and part of your self-concept are certain core memories of things that happened. And what the revision technique allows you to do is to revise which memories you focus on, and not only that, but to revise the actual memories themselves. You can literally change the memories you remember. Let's talk a little bit about imagination, because imagination is one of the main things that Neville Goddard talks about. It's one of the main components of my meditations that we do. It is a very powerful process that you need to understand before we do the revision technique meditation. Now, Wikipedia defines imagination as the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses. But interestingly enough, the mind does not know the difference between what is here and what you are imagining. It is your connection to your own subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind runs 95% of your life. Now, what happens is using your imagination, what you can do is reimagine certain things that have happened to where they start to, what Neville Goddard talks about, pruning the shears of revision. Go into the garden of your past and the garden of your mind and literally plant new seeds and pull out the weeds. Revision is the process of rewriting the past that continues to project into your present. And nothing comes, as a quote by Neville Goddard, is nothing comes from without, all things come from within, from the subconscious. So what we do when we do meditations, if you ever wonder why meditations are so powerful, by the way, you're in a theta state, You have more influence over your subconscious mind. And if you can get to a place of feeling as if something you already want to experience has already happened, that's the energetic state that will draw to you more synchronicity and opportunities to you from that energy. Like, think about it right now. You are an antenna of energy. Based on the state of emotion you feel, based on the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions you take, you are picking up on different frequencies, like a radio station. A radio is tuned to a certain frequency. All the radio frequencies already exist. You can tune to the past of times you weren't confident. You can tune to different memories. But from that state, it's reaffirming the current station, the current energy you're in. Same with the future probabilities you connect to. One of the big transformations you have is when you realize you have the ability to turn the channel you're on, but you don't have to necessarily shift all the frequencies that exist. You just change your frequency. Is this resonating so far? Is this resonating so far? Now, let's talk for a second about something called the expectation effect. Now, a lot of what Neville Goddard talks about, a lot of what I talk about when it comes to the process of Ho'oponopono. How many of you have heard me talk about Ho'oponopono? You talk about Dr. Hugh Len. I'm going to share this for a second because it shows that reality is literally just a reflection of your own energy and your relationship to it. Ho'oponopono, I'm going to go through it real fast because I know I've talked about it before, but it's an ancient Hawaiian technique that has been modernized by a man that passed away recently. His name's Dr. Hugh Len. He was in Hawaii when he was researching that of this powerful process, and he combined it with something that you could call like quantum physics, metaphysics. And basically, it's 4 simple statements. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And the idea behind this is that when you are saying this frequency, and you are taking responsibility for whatever you're perceiving on the outside, it's on the outside a projection also of your interpretation of it. So as you take responsibility for what you experience in the world, and you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, you are clearing the energy. It's called cleaning. Now, what he did was he went to was working with people. And what he did is he went to a mental asylum. And in this mental asylum, it was so dangerous, even for the nurses to be there, that many of the nurses would hide behind walls because they were afraid of the inmates. The energy was so bad that there was an extremely high turnover rate of people that would work there and then quit. There were some people that had to be sedated because they were so violent. And there were some people that had to be put in isolation because they were so violent. This was the energy of this mental asylum before Dr. Hugh Len went into it. Then what he does is he goes into this place. He works there for about two years. And within that 2 years, slowly but surely, the entire vibe changes. People begin to heal. Some of the violence begins to go away. Some people are transferred to less security mental asylums. The people enjoy working there. There's less fear going around the space. There's more enjoyment. There's less turnover rate. Within 2 years, everything shifted. Now, here's the crazy thing about the whole thing. Dr. Hugh Len did not psychoanalyze patients that came into his office, look at them, and then work with their deep core memories and transform them. In fact, he didn't do any sessions with them at all. Here's what he did. He looked at their files and he changed his perception of them by taking ownership of whatever they did, because if he's perceiving it, it means it's within his energy field. And he said, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And he saw these people as healed. He saw them not as mentally insane. He saw them as whole and complete. Now, here's what he did do, because I thought that was like, this sounds like too good to be true. So I did more research on this and to found out he actually did walk around the facility and engage with the inmates, engage with the mental asylum people. He did not psychoanalyze them and coach them and try to get them like to heal. He just engaged with them. As he was talking to them, he saw them as whole and complete. As he was saying hi to people, he would bring this energy with him. And that energy began to heal them to where within 2 years, the whole entire vibe had changed. Some people had been deemed not mentally insane. Some people were transferred to other places that were less security focused. And the idea is that there's 10 to 15 million bits of information around us at any given moment. 10 to 15 million bits of information, but we can only perceive of about up to 100 bits per second. So could it be that what we perceive in other people is the 100 bits of information that we have active inside of our own field? So when we meet people, we are either bringing out of them the 100 bits of information per second that are active in us, or we are attracting people that already have those active inside of themselves. So if you want to attract new people into your life, if you want to attract new scenarios into your life, there is a process of cleaning that can be powerful. Now, at the fundamental core of this, though, it's all you. It is all based on what you give energy, of what you give attention, of what you feed emotionally and energetically. Now, in the expectation effect, what they do, the expectation effect, this is science now. What was happening, what I'm talking about before, there's books written on it. It's a phenomenon. Let's talk about actual science of the expectation effect. If you were to take, let's say I were to take, I've shared this in a video before, if you were to take that of kids, teachers, and you were to tell a teacher, hey, these kids over here are the smart kids, these over here are the not so smart kids. And what happens is that teacher then goes through an entire year. What will happen is the kids that were deemed smart will be smarter. The kids that were deemed slow will be slower. The interesting thing is with this experiment is there was no rhyme or reasons to which kids were smart and not smart. The teachers were just told these are the smart kids, these are the slow kids. Guess what ended up happening? She expected the kids to be smart and they were smart. She expected the kids to be slow and they were slow. Shows you the power of expectation with other people. If you expect someone to cheat on you, through your belief, through your expectation, through the familiar energy, you may be, in a way, bringing that out because of the expectation. You have to take ownership of what you want to change. As much as we want to stay addicted or committed to blaming someone else, this person cheated on me, what is inside of your energy field that is attracting that into your life? Take ownership of the field, of the belief, of the expectation. They've done that same experiment with rats. You could take 10 people as volunteers and say, hey, go into this blink with cages with rats and Post-it notes that say smart rat, dumb rat, smart rat, dumb rat, smart rat, dumb rat. You take the rats then over to that of a maze. The ones that are smart get through the maze about twice as fast as the stupid rats. But here's the thing, the Post-it notes were random. The people expect the rats to be quick, they're quick. The people expect the rats to be slow, they're slow. Our expectation of things we experience in our life are coming through based on what we expect. I used to work with this guy. Let's talk about as far as like people you meet. I used to work with this guy, and everyone that I worked with did not enjoy working with this guy. They thought he had negative energy. He was somebody that definitely had like a troubling past, and I could see how people saw him as a shark, kind of. He would like take a lot of customers and When you work in a sales commission job and someone's kind of greedy with customers, it kind of rubs off on other people. But nonetheless, no one enjoyed working with this guy. Everyone's experience of him is that he was extremely draining. He was extremely negative. He was just a pain to be around. Now, I had a different perspective. I actually thought he was pretty... I have the thing where I think like a lot of times I always kind of root for the underdog. And if everyone's excluding someone, I have this thing where I like to be the one that's like, I like to see this person differently. Basically, what ended up happening, though, is I became friends with this guy, and I enjoyed working with him more than I enjoyed working with some of the other people that were more positive. When I was around him and I had fun, and he wasn't negative around me. I did not hold the belief in the story that this guy is negative and draining, and when I was around him, he was not negative and he was not draining. And I enjoyed being around him. And I always thought that was interesting because everyone had the same story. I did not have the same story. I got literally a different version of him. Now, how often do you think we do this when we go out into public and we have a vision for how we respond to other people, how we relate to other people, how we expect other people to respond to us, and that vision is then a self-fulfilling prophecy. We get what we expect. And what if you could revise that vision? You could revision it. What if you could revision your connection to your expectation for other people? And understanding as well that everyone is a divine spiritual being, live in a temporary illusion that we are these separate egos. So when you talk about the people that did bad things to you in the past, understand that what did the bad things to you in the past was not the divine spiritual soul of that person. It was the ego construct of the unconsciousness. This is when Eckhart Tolle, this is when even Dr. Hugh Len talks about you don't have to forgive other people. It's more so about forgiving the self, letting go of the self-expectation, the self-resentment, the self-blame that you project onto other people. It's about letting that go. You're forgiving the unconsciousness that is also within your consciousness because we're all connected. What abused you in the past was not the divine spiritual soul of whoever in your family. It was the unconsciousness that was probably passed down from their family line. When I looked to my ex-stepmom, one of the huge healing parts for me was realizing it wasn't so personal. She wasn't treating my brother and I like shit because we were pieces of shit. She was doing exactly what she was taught growing up, was that that's how you treat kids. She was abused by her dad. Doesn't make it right, but it does help me understand that she's just plain, it was the unconscious part of herself doing it to me. It wasn't personal. It wasn't my fault. And I want you to know that whatever happened to you in the past, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault something happened. It wasn't your fault your parents divorced. It wasn't your fault if there's some type of trauma, abuse, abandonment. It wasn't your fault. It had nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's something that happened that you can begin to give a new meaning to. It's not personal. It's not personal. And what happens is as you begin to connect to this more, this energy, you start to find a freedom within you. You start to find yourself not recreating the past over and over again. So, when we talk about who we are all divine spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. The people that did things to you in the past, the things that maybe you did to someone else in the past was happening from a certain level of unconsciousness. And what we can begin to do is to let that energy go. Now, When we talk about healing and changing the past, understand the past is a fluid thing that changes as we change. Just like we constantly recreate the past every moment depending on our self-concept of who we are. Now, there's a couple different ways to use this revision technique. One of the ways is you can take a challenging memory from the past and you can literally revise it and look through it in a new way. You could change the qualities and the details. This is also called NLP. Something that sometimes helps is to make it like a cartoon if you're trying to release some energy from the past. You could remember it differently. That reaffirms a new reality, a new identity. I had one thing that happened that I used this for back in the day. This is years ago that I was learning about this. But when I was, here's another story for you. And I've shared this a couple times before, but when I was 12 or 13 years old, I went to this camp thing at a park. And at this camp thing, I'm like a 12-year-old, maybe I was 13. I think maybe I was 12 or 13. And my brother and I were at this camp, at this park. And there was this activity that is a recreational park thing for like during the summer. And what happened is my brother and I were hanging out, but then there was an opportunity for the 12-year-olds. If you were like 12 or 13 or over, you could go to this dance. So my brother was 3 years younger than me. He went over to that of the other place where all the younger kids went. I went to this dance. I was at this dance, and there was this 18-year-old teacher that I thought was hot. Okay, I'm like 12 years old, and there was this 18-year-old teacher. I remember she had dark hair, and I went over to her, and I was like, I had the courage to go over to her to say, do you want to, I remember I must have been like this little high-pitched, squeaky voice, like, hey, do you want to dance with me? So I go, and I was like, do you want to dance with me? And she was like, what she did is she got me some other girl that was my age, and she's like, she'll dance with you. And she's like, she was wanting to dance with someone her age. Can't blame her. But in that moment, as a 12-year-old, that felt like rejection. I mean, it would have been creepy her dancing with me anyway. She's like 18, 19 years old dancing with like a 12-year-old. It would have probably been cute, I guess. But basically, she was like, let me find you someone your age. And she found me someone at age, but in that moment, I felt there was a feeling of rejection. And years later, there was that memory would pop up sometimes when I would be sharing or showing interest in someone I was dating. There was sometimes that memory would come up. I'm like, what is this? So with the revision technique, one thing I could do is I replayed that through different memory sets. Now, also, there's a couple reframes to that memory. One, I looked at my inner child version of myself and I thought, what a badass. What a badass 12-year-old to have the balls to go up to a 18-year-old and say, yo, you want to dance with me? You want to dance with me? And she, being sweet, found me someone else that was my age, and I danced with that person, but I was looking over at her, and I was like, why did she want to dance with me? But I'm like, whoa. I was a baller 12-year-old. Some balls to do that. So that was one reframe. But also, I could have put it through the revision process. I could have also imagined it like an NLP. You'd imagine it like a cartoon. Meaning I could imagine myself with a high-pitched voice being like, hey, you want to dance with me? And then she could have been like, no, I'm going to pass you over to my friend over here. And in that, it makes it less real when I do that. I connect to the memory less. I could also replay it backwards or put it in black and white. When it's in black and white, every time I remember that memory, if I were to remember it in black and white as a cartoon going backwards, If I did that 5, 10, 15 times, I start to connect to it in a very different way. To where eventually, it may be actually even hard to remember what actually even happened. Remember, we do this anyways. Every time we remember the past, we change it slightly anyways. We're already doing this. Yeah, Sylvie says, how about you change the scenario and you imagine she dances with you? I've done that as well. And if I were to do that 15, 20 times, have you any of you ever had it where a friend was telling you a story and then later on you couldn't remember if it happened to you or if it happened to your friend? Like you couldn't remember, a friend tells you something, you're like, did this happen in my life or is this in a friend's life? How many of you have had that experience? I think many of you probably had that experience where you were told a story and then you're like, is this my story or did this happen in a movie? That's our imagination, baby. We don't really know. It's all a fluid reality anyways. Yeah, someone says, Kimberly says, like your mother tells you something and it's completely off what she remembers telling me. It's all a dream. So, you can also revise every day. It's about a daily pruning. It's called daily pruning. Imagine every day. Now, the key to this is feeling as if it's already happened. So, on one hand, you can change a memory from the past by going to the garden of your mind, looking at some memory, planting new seeds, and letting a new memory grow, which then changes your sense of self-concept. You can also, what you could also do, here's where things get a little trippy. You ready for some trippiness? So imagine, so if I were to say like the 12-year-old dance, debate trophy, I can reframe and revise these two things. I don't necessarily want to revise. Maybe I want to amplify the debate trophy thing to feel confident and proud of myself in a certain way, to evoke a certain emotion. If you want to like have more confidence. The 12-year-old version of you, you can revise. I could revise that and start to see where I actually danced, where I actually just realized, like I imagine me going over, like I imagine me with like baggy pants and like wearing cool-ass Cool J glasses with like a toothpick in my mouth. And then I go back to my inner child and I'm like, Knuckles, bro, you're badass. And he's like, yeah. And he just he's got like glasses like that. It's like a visual. I know it's cheesy. But like, so when they say inner child healing, basically what you're doing is going back to that memory and just fucking reframing it. Most healing, if I were to sum up everything, I'm going to give away the farm today, okay? All transformation that I have studied over the last 7 or 8 years, almost all of it. You could talk about the book Man's Search for Meaning. You could talk about hypnosis. I've been studying hypnosis for guided meditations. I've been studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I've been studying the quantum field. I've been studying all this stuff. You want to know what it all comes down to? You want to know what it all comes down to? It all comes down to reframing meaning. Looking at things from a new perspective and changing your relationship to it by letting go of the past meaning. Think about it. If I think about my life, 2012, my spiritual awakening. I had this heavy past, didn't have a childhood, angry at my ex-stepmom, attracting narcissistic managers that reminded me the energy of my ex-stepmom. I forgive my ex-stepmom and see that it wasn't a bad thing that had happened. It was a good thing. It was a good thing because it led to my spiritual awakening. It was a good thing because it led me to then have this energy of wanting to help other people break out of their own boxes. It created pressure that's good. It went from bad to good. My life transformed. I forgave my ex-stepmom. What if the biggest traumas and the biggest meanings you give in the past to certain things were actually the biggest blessings because it led you to where you are today? What if? I'm just saying. Now, let's get a little trippy here. Let's get a little trippy. What if you were able to remember something in the past that already happened? Feel it as if it already happened? And you were able to do that in meditation. Now, for example, we look to the future over here. This is going to happen in the future. In the future, I'm going to do an event with 2,000 people live. It's in the future. It's not here now, it's in the future. What if I were to remember a memory and I were to think, feel, and act and feel the emotion of already have done a 2,000 person live event? What if I were to imagine myself on stage? Imagine people in the crowd doing live guided meditations, transforming, feeling so empowered. What if I were to imagine the most amazing stage setup where there are these lights that gives off this certain vibe, and then I'm walking around and then noticing people just have very powerful experiences, and at the end of it, I can imagine so many people having breakthroughs, people standing up and sharing these incredible breakthroughs that people had, and then other people in the crowd popping because through mirror neurons, they're having similar breakthroughs, just experiencing the osmosis of other people's transformation. More than that, people sharing their breakthroughs are opening up the possibility for other people to go through similar transformations. What if I were to imagine 2,000 people in a group, us using that of powerful group manifestation processes like unity meditations, and what if then the next day we checked the Schumann resonance, and the Schumann resonance was off the charts because we knew that we were using the power of group energy to shift our reality? What if it's already happened? What if I felt like it already happened? What if I assumed the wish fulfilled? You see what I mean? This doesn't have to be just based on clearing past emotions, clearing past energies. This can also be planting the seeds of something that have already happened. How would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? How would my body language be in that version of me? Is this resonating? Is this resonating? Yeah, some people say, does it have to be a childhood memory, or could it be a recent, more painful memory? It can be whatever the hell you want. It can be something from the past. It can be something that's happening right now. But what happens is as you look at that memory, or whatever it is, you can change the total. But basically the way, let me see if I can find, let me read. You guys mind if I read a little bit of something to you about this that I thought was very powerful? Let me read to you a little quote from one of Neville Goddard's lectures. It says, "Now this is how we do it. At the end of my day, I review the day. I don't judge it. I simply review it. I look over the entire day, all the episodes, all the events, all the conversations, all the meetings, and then I see it clearly in my mind's eye. I rewrite it. I rewrite it and make it conform to the ideal I wished I had experienced. I take the scene after scene and rewrite it, revise it, and having revised my day, then in my imagination, I relive that day, the revised day, and I do it over and over in my imagination until the seeming imagined state begins to take on to me the tones of reality." The tones of reality. You think it, you imagine it, you feel it as if it's already happening. And once you can begin to feel it, that's when you start to embody the emotion of it, which will then attract to you synchronicities that are already in the field. Everything is here and now. And what happens is as you feel it, as you believe it's who you are, it's a part of your identity. This is the real you. What we are talking about right now is about letting go of the conditioned self and embodying the frequency of what you prefer to experience. Now, your expectations of other people, you can also revise other people. Now, I don't recommend using this as a form of control. okay? Where you're like, I want this person to treat me a certain, like, everyone's the divine being on the inside and we're all connected. But what I could do, for example, with that guy that I used to work with, is at the end of the day, I could revise, tomorrow I work with him. I'm going to imagine him in his most highest vibrational state. I'm going to imagine him and I having fun and just having an easy day selling shoes. I'm going to imagine him as the divine being that he is. You can revise your image of other people, just like you could revise and see kids as smart and they will literally be smarter, or rats as smart and they will literally be smarter, or people as more nurturing, they will literally be more nurturing. You literally start to, whatever you focus on, you find more evidence of. If you have a core belief that people are nurturing and that you're lovable, you will find more evidence in your reality where people appear to be more lovable and more nurturing. So, what we are going to do now is, let me read to you the rest of this quote real quick. It seems that it is real, that I actually did experience it, and I have found from experience that these revised day, if really lived, will change my tomorrows. When I meet people tomorrow that today disappoint me, they will not tomorrow. For in me, I have changed the very nature of that being. And having changed him, he bears witness tomorrow of the change that took place within me. It is my duty to take this garden and really make it a garden by daily using the pruning shears of revision. Who is ready to prune the shears of revision? Using the pruning shears of revision. Who is ready? Let's get pruning. Okay, now with imagination, an important distinction to make here is that your imagination is something that you relate to different than everybody else. Everyone has their own way of using the imagination. Don't put pressure on yourself that says, I need to see things very visually as if I'm there, or it doesn't work. Your imagination connects to you in a unique way. Some people are more claircognizant. They just feel, or clairsentient. They feel. Some people are clairaudient. They hear sounds. They hear noises. They hear ideas. Some people are clairvoyant. They see things. They have a very powerful visualization. Some people are a mix of it all. But just trust whatever comes through, comes through. Just trust the process. Don't put pressure on yourself that it has to look a certain way. Don't judge yourself if you're not seeing it clearly. Just let your higher self and spiritual guides assist you with this process. All right. So now what we are going to do is we are going to use and connect to a very powerful technique called the revision technique, as I've been talking about. And I haven't seen any amazing revision techniques, meditations on YouTube, so I'm excited to do this because I believe that this doing a meditation like this can be very powerful for people to come back to. Now, to do this, we are going to get into the revision technique using Neville Goddard's technique, and I want you to set the intention to connect to a reality where you're able to assume the wish fulfilled as if it's already happened. You'll have the opportunity to either go back to revise something from the past, or you'll have the opportunity to create a new memory of something you want to bring into your life, or you want to connect to your new identity, your new self-concept, your new way of being. So, what I'd like to ask you to do now is to take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it all go. With every breath you take, feeling more and more relaxed. Take another deep breath and breathe it deeply into your nose and let it all go. And now, bring the energy inside your body. Bring the energy inside. And imagine now a ball of energy, any color you like. And imagine wherever this ball of energy goes, it relaxes and loosens up any tension. Bring this ball of energy now to your forehead and imagine any tension melting away. Melting it away. Bring that ball of energy now behind your eyes, loosening up any tension. Relaxing more and more. Bring it now to your jaw. Feel your jaw loosen up and relax. Bring your awareness now into your neck, feeling your neck loosen up. Bring the awareness to your left arm, your left hand. Imagine it becoming heavier, more relaxed. Your right arm, your right hand. Feeling it become more and more relaxed. Bring that energy now into your heart. And feel whatever sensations come up. Set the intention to open your heart throughout this experience. Ask for your higher self and your spiritual guides to help you open up your heart. And bring that ball of energy down your spine, down into your hips, down into your left leg and foot, your right leg and foot. And imagine any excess energy leaving out of the heels of your feet. Now imagine off to the right, you notice a door. Imagine a door off to your right. And this door is about 10 feet away, 10 steps. And this door represents the connection into your own subconscious mind. Now, with every step towards this door you take, you will feel more and more relaxed. Now take a step now, one, every step feeling more and more relaxed. Two, take another step towards this door with 3, closer to the door now with 4, 5, doubling the sensation of relaxation in your body with 6, getting closer now, 7, 8 at the front of this door now, 9, and 10. Notice how relaxed you feel. And imagine this door. Imagine the doorknob. And now, on the other side of this door is that of a garden. This garden is your subconscious mind. And what you can do now is ask that your higher self and your spiritual guides, if you want, ask that they be on the other side of this door and that they help you to prune that and use the power of revision with the past or the future. Now go ahead and put your hand on the doorknob now. Turn the knob and open up the door. And take a step into this beautiful garden now. And with your higher self, spiritual guides there to assist you, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? And now, notice off to your left are some plants and flowers that represent your past. They represent things that have happened that you can revise. You can imagine them playing out in a different way. Imagine now walking over to these plants and imagine pulling out any weeds. And notice if there's any memory that comes up that you want to revise in your subconscious mind. In this garden, you have the amazing ability to imagine anything that's happened. You can imagine it happening differently. You can imagine it happening in an empowering way. You can imagine yourself saying maybe what wasn't said. You can imagine yourself responding completely different. And imagine that as you go over to this plant now, and as you look, you are able to imagine yourself now in some past experience, revising it the way you would like it to have been. See, feel, and hear it happening the way you preferred it to. Imagine it again happening the way you prefer it to. What would you see? What would you hear? How would you feel? Is there another memory, or is there something else you would like to revise with your spiritual guides and higher self? Ask them to reveal to you what is something else you could revise and create a new vision for. Maybe it's something you wish to happen in the future. Imagine it has already happened. How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? What would you see? What would you hear? Imagine those colors becoming brighter and brighter, much more vivid. Imagine the sounds becoming louder and louder. Wow. Whatever you're imagining right now, congratulations. You did it. Look at who you've become. Look how far you've come. Congratulations. It has already happened. I notice how much your energy has changed. You're literally a new version of you. So many aspects of your life are different now, and I can see how everyone in your life responds to you in this new way. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Now ask for your higher self and spiritual guides to surround you right now and to send you love into your heart, and feel the gratitude for the support that you have and for these new visions that make up your new self-concept, your new identity. Set the intention that this new energy benefits everyone in your life, activates your heart in a new way, and imagine a divine light coming into this beautiful garden, into your crown of your head, into your heart, activating your heart, and then grounding to your feet into the planet. And I'm going to count from 1 to 10, and you are going to download this knowing, this energy into your being. And your higher self and spiritual guides will help you to open up your heart more and more with every number I count. Imagine this ball of energy in your heart with 1 spinning faster and faster with 2, doubling the sensation now with 3. Feel the gratitude for this new reality that's already happened, assuming the wish fulfilled. 4, double the sensation in your heart again. Feel the love with 5. Open up your heart. Open up your heart. With 6, doubling that sensation again. Let yourself feel whatever you feel. With 7, double that sensation and imagine it spinning even faster and faster. With 8, doubling that sensation again. With 9, allowing it to increase even more. And with 10, allow yourself to soak in this love. And now, It is time, as this new version of you, to begin making your way back now to that door. But as you get towards that door, you realize it has turned into a mirror. Now, when you walk through this mirror in a moment, you will realize you have come back as a new version of you. You will allow things in your life to shift, old things to fall away, and make room for the magic to come in. Now go ahead and walk up to this mirror now and notice you can put your left hand onto the mirror. You feel the vibration of it. And look through the mirror and notice you can see yourself in your room or wherever you are. And realize now you're going to reconnect with your body as this new version of you. Now go ahead and put your hand through this mirror and walk through it. Walk over to yourself and reintegrate into your body, into your beingness, knowing that when you open up your eyes in a moment, you will literally perceive of a new reality, a revised reality. I'm going to count from 5 to 1, and by the time I reach 1, you will open up your eyes knowing you have revised into a new you, your whole reality. So 5, 4, bring the awareness in your hands and your feet. 3, into your arms and your leg. 2, into your spine. And 1, open up your eyes as this new you. Open up your eyes as this new you. And how do you feel? Bring your energy back. How was that meditation? Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed that workshop and meditation. And if you ever want to join a future workshop or meditation like this for free, I am now doing something completely new. It's a complete free group that is not on Instagram. It's not on Facebook. It's in a private, safe community where we do live meditations. I do live workshops. There's meditations in there that are free that you can listen to. And basically, I'm just developing that of a community of people that are all focused on this kind of work so that we can transform ourselves and then transform the planet. And if you want to join, it's completely free. I'll go ahead and link it below. You can join and then be part of the live interactive experiences. These are the clips that you see here on YouTube, but nonetheless, we'll be doing more coming up soon. Now, if you want a video to learn more on what is called the expectation effect, it is something that I talked a little bit in this workshop about. It's a very powerful video. You can check that out right here.